Deku, Axe Reader, Part 13. You pull away from the hawk and look him in the eyes. You start to tear up again. What do you mean by that? You ask through sobs. He wiped his face and sat down on your bed and started to explain. When you were young, 7 years to be exact, your father started acting abnormally. He would lash out and hurt you and your brother. He would get angry over the slightest things. He started laughing at nothing, and this is when we discovered a new quirk that he hadn't told us about. Demon possession. Basically, he had a different identity, an alter ego, if you prefer. It was never heard of at that point in time, so no one knew how to stop him. But we did know one thing. It was spreadable. We learned that through your mother. He paused to make sure you were processing what he had been saying. Your father bit her. At first, we thought it was completely harmless until 3 days later when she started to have the same effects. Her body wasn't strong enough to take on that much power. A tear escaped his eye. I tried to stop you from seeing her die, but I didn't make it in time. I'm so sorry, and now your brother is... He couldn't finish his sentence. You pulled him in for another hug. You knew what he was going to say. You remember it perfectly. After your mother died, your father took your brother away from you. You have no idea where either of them are now, and frankly, you were terrified. The two of you pulled away from the hug, and you smiled at Uncle Toshi. He smiled back. On a lighter note, I bought a buttload of milk, and also got some ice cream. He stood up and asked if you wanted some. You nodded and started to walk out of the room with him. You were watching the movie Liar Liar, and it was hilarious. You almost choked on your ice cream a couple of times. The movie ended, and Toshi got up and took the dishes to the kitchen. I need to tell him. When he returned from the kitchen, you asked him if you could tell him something. You pulled back your hair to reveal the side of your neck. There was a bite mark that your father had left before he bit your mother. I know. Thank you for telling me. He smiled at you and handed you a bracelet. This will help. Germanium? You look at him questionably. I'm not sure why, but it makes the other you weaker, he replied. We don't want a repeat of what happened with your father, so please don't take it off. You nod. The next day at school. You had finished the surprise test Caterpillar had given the class. You didn't do too bad. A note was pushed into your desk. It was from Bakugo. It says, "You okay, fuck lips?" You giggle and write back, "I'm fine, dipshit. Since when do you care about me? Meet me on the roof after class." Hell no, you're gonna push me off the roof. I wasn't, but that's a good idea. Dick face. Bitch. Fuck knuckle. Watch your profanity. Coming from you. Just meet me. Fine. You were extremely nervous now, but you were genuinely curious. Around lunchtime, you made your way to the roof to see Bakugo standing there with something in his hand. You approach and tap him on the shoulder. He turned around ready to slap a motherfucker. Well, hello to you too, you say. He didn't say anything, but he did hand you the thing he was holding. It's not the best apology. He looks down when he says this. You open the box and see the most beautiful necklace. It was gold with a little fox on the end of it. How on earth did you remember? Look, bitch, I've never been good at expressing feelings, as you can fucking tell. But I remember seeing you one time in public and begging to get the necklace. I was gonna give it to you sooner, but I was too nervous. Before he could say another word, you pull him in for a hug and thank him like a bazillion times. He hugs back tighter. You pull away and thank him again. He took the necklace out of the box and told you to turn around, so you did. He put it on for you, and you smiled when you turned back around. I don't expect you to ever forgive me for what I've done in the past, but I had to give it to you before it could have been too late. You smiled once more. Anyway, there is one thing that I want to ask you. He pauses. Do you think we can be friends again? The only way I'm allowing us to be friends again is if you apologize to Izuku as well. He nods and heads off the roof. You suspect he's going to plan a massive apology. After he left, you saw Uraraka and Izuku talking. You immediately felt sad upon seeing the sight. It looked like she was giving Izuku a note. Hell nah, bitch, that better not be a love letter. Izuku read the note and shook his head side to side while handing the note back. Uraraka looked upset. After the next break between classes, you were back on the roof with your lunch by your side. Izuku entered through the door and looked at you. He slowly came over and sat in front of you with his legs crossed. You seem upset with me, he says. Well, no shit, Sherlock, you retort. Is this about what Leave, you say coldly. What? I said leave. I'm not in the mood. What the fuck am I saying? I never wanted to say that. What the hell did I do? He raises his voice. You jump up and pin him against the ground. Your eyes were pure black. I told you to fucking leave. Izuku flings you off him and grabs you by the shirt. Who are you? He asks sternly. Why don't you let me introduce myself? You grab his wrist and twist around his back. I'm her, but a little bit different. Her alter ego. Why are you here? He raises his voice again. Do you know how much pain you caused her, you little prick? You snapped her heart into two. The only reason I'm here is to make sure you never do that again. Like hell you are, he yells. He flips you over so now he was on top of you. His legs were restraining yours and he pinned your arms above your head. Come back to me, please. I need you, he says. And what does she get in return? Jealousy? Pain? Her pillow to be stained by tears every single night? I don't fucking think so. Before you could do anything, he drew his lips closer to yours. Caught off guard, you 2.0 was contained, and normal you took over once again. He pulled away and looked at you intensely. Why would you ever think I would kiss anyone but you? He smirked. Izuku, you're kind of squishing me. He quickly jumped off and apologized. You pulled him in for another kiss, and he gladly accepted. You pull away and see that Izuku looks extremely uncomfortable. Are you alright? Did I do something wrong? You didn't do anything. I'll see you in class. He rushed his sentence and ran off. Deku, X-Reader, Part 14. It was the next day, and the class was doing this training thing where there were villains and heroes. The heroes needed to disable a bomb, and the villains needed to stop them from doing that. You were teamed up with Katsuki on the villain team. Stop it, Katsuki! Is that all you got, Midoriya? Katsuki yells. Another blow was sent toward Izuku. This time you stopped it. Izuku was getting weaker and weaker, and you would not stand for this. Damn it, Katsuki, stop! You absorbed his attack and hit back at 20% since you don't want to cause too much damage. Get out of my way, Katsuki yelled. Young Bakugo, All Might said over the speaker. Shit. Izuku was about to get hit again, but you quickly teleported in front of him. The force of the attack caught you off guard. You were sent flying backwards until you hit the wall. Izuku was going to attack Katsuki now. Izuku, don't attack, you'll hurt yourself, you yelled at him. Fuck it. You jump in front of Katsuki and take the full force of Izuku's attack. Holy shit, he's strong. No! Izuku yelled. Stupid nerd, Katsuki yelled in a worried tone. You looked behind you to see if you could slow yourself down just a tad so you don't break your back. What you saw made you terrified. Oh god. There was a massive sharp rock, and your back was heading straight for it. Everything went in slow motion. You whipped your head back around to see Izuku and Katsuki running at you with incredibly worried expressions. This is it. I'm gonna die. It was nice knowing you guys. It was nice sharing my first kiss with Izuku. The necklace Katsuki gave me as a sorry gift. This is goodbye. You smile at the two boys, with tears streaming down your face. The force of the rock hitting your back knocked you out immediately and broke your spine. You blacked out. Izuku, POV. No! I yell. No! She's gonna hit the rock! She'll never survive that! She looked at me and smiled. Tears were streaming down my face as she was impaled. When I got there, she wasn't breathing. I screamed. Katsuki put his hand on my shoulder. Get off me, you fucking monster! I yelled in pure rage toward the ash blonde boy. He was crying. All Might appeared. Get out of here, young Bakugo. Now. I held you in my arms, trying to find your pulse. Where's her pulse, All Might? It's not there. More tears were pouring down my face as he takes you out of my grasp. The scream I produced in that moment was filled with pure agony and rage. All Might put his hand on my shoulder. We exited the completely crumbled building. All Might was still holding you in his arms. The class ran up to me and kept asking if I'm okay. Everyone get the hell away from me, I snapped at my classmates, which took them completely by surprise. Mr. Aizawa took you from All Might's arms and laid you gently on the ground. Everyone huddled around you and sobbed like no tomorrow. Even Katsuki was sobbing. Aizawa was fighting to hold back tears as well. What the fuck have you pricks done to my sister? Everyone looks up to see a male standing directly next to you. He had a hoodie on so no one could see what he looked like. He bent down, picked her up, and vanished into thin air. No! The entire class yelled in unison. Deku X Reader, Part 15. Akinari, your brother's POV. Those stupid heroes almost killed my sister. Of course I'm mad. Look, please, just calm down. I don't want you electrocuting me again. That hurt like a bitch. Akinari scoffed. I'm going to see her. I made my way to you. We were lying down on a strapped table. I activated my healing quirk and tended to your wounds once again. You're lucky you're my sister. If you were anyone else, I wouldn't be wasting this much power, I whisper. I was in the room for about an hour. Your small wounds are healed. I'm just worried about the massive slice on your back. It's not healing as well as the other cuts and bruises. Want me to take over? Atsudo asks. Please, I reply. Atsudo starts to walk toward the door before he puts a hand on my shoulder and smiles. She'll be okay. She's strong, you know. She's one of us after all. I chuckle and lay my hand on the bench. You still mad at me? Atsuku asks. I'm not mad, I'm just upset, I reply. Like I said before, I'm figuring it out. I sure hope you do. You've always been smarter than me at this stuff. I chuckle at his response and teleport to my room because who needs stairs? They suck. I always feel like they're up to something. So don't trust them. I lay down on my bed and drift off to sleep. Ah! I jolt awake to a high-pitched scream. I rush downstairs and into where you are. I see you awake and you look terrified. Atsudo does as well. He's huddled in the corner of the room with wide eyes. I laugh in his direction and head over to you. Ah! I stumble backwards and my back hits the wall. Her eyes, did you bite her? I yell. I don't know, maybe. I approach you again to see your eyes are going back to normal, and as you look up at me, your eyes start to tear up. Akinari? She whispers. I take off her restraints that are keeping her on the table and pull her in for a hug. She hugs back and I feel my shoulder getting wet. She was crying. Deku X Reader, Part 16. I hug her back tighter. Atsudo made his way over to you with a worried look in his eyes. I pull away from the hug. There's someone else here that missed you. You lift your head and turn to Atsuto. You just stare at him for a few moments before lunging and knocking him to the ground. You lifted up your hand, and a black mist started to form around it. You brought your fist down at full force toward his face. I teleported and grabbed your hand before we could make contact. I pulled you off, Atsudo, and made you look at me. Listen, I know you're in there. Please don't let it take control. I put my hands on your shoulders and made sure you were looking me in the eye. I know he's the biggest jerk on the planet, but please, I figured a way to bring her back, I say. You still weren't fully in control yet and tried to escape from my grasp. I know how to bring her back. I can bring Mom back. Are you listening to me? I can bring Mom back. I started to choke up halfway through the sentence. Your eyes start to turn back to normal when I said that. You pull me in for a hug. It's true. He knows how to bring her back, and from the bottom of my heart, I'm truly sorry. Atsudo stands up and brushes off his shirt. I know that you will never forgive me, and I know that I've been a shitty father. I don't blame you if you don't forgive me, but all I ask is that you please trust me, just for a little bit. Once your mother's alive again, you can go back to hating me. He was about to say more, but he started to cry. Back to your POV. You looked at Atsuto, and how sad he was. You could tell that he was in fact deeply sorry. Your arms unwrap from Akinari and you walk over to him. He looks scared and ashamed. You stopped right in front of him and told him to look at you. The two of you made eye contact and you started to speak. You are the scum of the earth, and with the most fibers of my being, I truly despise you. You pause, but you're still my father. You take his hand. And what kind of daughter would I be if I didn't love my father? Remember when I came home that day when I protected Izuku? He nodded his head. I was so sad and scared, but you made me feel so much better. He started to tear up. I took you out for ice cream and you won a pocket-sized teddy. He smiles. Akinari picked up Izuku and we all went to an arcade. We both started to tear up. Akinari came over. I'm sorry for taking you away from Izuku and your class, but you were in the most terrible condition. I had to help, he says. It's fine. I'm just concerned about what will happen when I go back. You giggle. I've already figured that out. You just pretend you don't remember anything, he says. Not a bad idea, big bro. You smile and put your hand on your hip. Am I forgiven? Atsuto asks. You're not forgiven completely, but yeah, you say. You pull in Atsuto and Akinari for a hug. Of course, they hugged back. You guys stayed like that for a couple of minutes before Dad had to go do something. Well, you're all healed besides a couple bruises and that massive gash on your back, but other than that, you're good to go. He took a hold of your arm. Let's get you back to Izuku. You two would make a cute couple. You know, he swore for the first time. He smiled. My sweet little innocent bean swore? You gasp. He called Bakugo a fucking monster. You gasped again and pretended to faint. Akinari caught you and tried to get you to stop from being stupid. You didn't, and you were still limp in his arms. Fine then, you asked for it. He dropped you to the floor. My bag, you bastard! Shit, I'm so sorry, I completely forgot. He leaned down to help you, so you grabbed his arm and flipped him onto his back. You sneaky little shit, he laughs. You guys finished your play fight, and he took you to Izuku's house. Well, down the street from Izuku's house. He said goodbye and gave you an address and a phone number. If you need anything, just give me a call. You hugged and said your goodbyes. You started heading to Izuku's home. You arrived and knocked on his door. Uncle Toshi answered and was stunned when he saw you standing there. Thank you for listening to Deku X Reader, parts 13 through 16. This is Bizarre ASMR, and I'll see you next time. Bye!